Individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today, former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Cosa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchesi crime families. And you'll hear more about those details today. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling. This FBI will leave no room for any perpetrator of crime across this country. You hear a lot about our work of defending the homeland and crushing violent crime. Well, this work is also representative of a colossal portion of the FBI's mandate to keep America safe and to keep our entertainment industry fair and secure. The men and women that are standing up here today worked tireless hours, days, months, and years. And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation. We will not allow this kind of illicit activity to happen, not only at the national sporting level, but also where it hides in La Cosa Nostra. And when these two collided together, they perpetrated a fraud that is historic in terms of not just money, but the scheme and the deceit that they utilize to steal and swindle people for money, to include crypto fraud.
Man, just when I thought the NBA was going to start off, man, my Sixers, man, started off with a win. Our rookie had 34 points in his debut. And right after that, bombshell drop. FBI comes in, start locking up everybody. You got mafia members included, NBA coaches, NBA players. It's a whole bunch of foolishness going on. Point shaving, gambling, all kinds of stuff. So now we're finding out that Chauncey Billups, he was arrested for an illegal poker scheme. Terry Rozier was arrested. The feds is coming in, and they basically say that they've been investigating this since 2019. They basically got an open and shut case. That's what they're saying.
We're announcing today indictments in two major cases, both involving fraud. One involves sports betting, and the other involves illegal gambling, very specifically rigged poker games. The first indictment involves 6 defendants who are alleged to have participated in one of the most brazen sports corruption schemes since online sports betting became widely legalized in the United States. This scheme is an insider sports betting conspiracy that exploited confidential information about National Basketball Association athletes and teams. The second indictment involves 31 defendants alleged to have participated in a nationwide scheme to rig illegal poker games. These defendants, which include former professional athletes, used high-tech cheating technology to steal millions of dollars from victims in underground poker games that were secretly fixed. The games in the New York area were backed by the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese crime families of La Cosa Nostra. While the cases are separate, there are 3 overlapping defendants charged in both cases: Damon Jones, Eric Ernest, and Shane Hennon. The indictments in these cases contain only allegations, and the defendants are presumed innocent until they are proven guilty in a court of law. But my message to the defendants who've been rounded up today is this: your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out. Violating the law is a losing proposition, and you can bet on that. First, I would like to talk about United States versus Ernest, the NBA basketball gambling case. The defendants in this case are Eric Ernest, Marvez Farley, Shane Hennon, De Niro Laster, Damon Jones, a former NBA player and coach, and Terry Rozier, a current NBA player. Other co-conspirators were previously charged for their roles in the scheme, including former NBA player Jontay Porter. Between December 2022 and March 2024, these defendants perpetrated a scheme to defraud by betting on inside, non-public information about NBA athletes and teams. The non-public information included when specific players would be sitting out future games, or when they would pull themselves out early for purported injuries or illnesses. They relied on corrupt individuals, including Jones and Rozier, They also misused information obtained through long-standing friendships that they had with NBA players and coaches. And in at least one instance, they got their information by threatening a current player, Porter, because of his pre-existing gambling debts. Defendants used this non-public information to place hundreds of thousands of dollars in fraudulent bets, mostly in the form of prop bets on individual player performance. The bets were placed through online sports books and also in person at casinos. The defendants relied on a network of straw bettors to place the maximum amount of bets to increase their potential profits. Most of these bets succeeded, and the intended losses were in the millions of dollars. The defendants then laundered their illegal winnings in various ways: peer-to-peer platforms, bank wires, and simple cash exchanges. The indictment details specific examples where the defendants profited from illegal gambling and illegal betting on various NBA games about the performance of players on, among other things, the Charlotte Hornets, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Toronto Rangers. Each defendant in the NBA basketball gambling case has been charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Now, I would like to turn to the other.
So this thing is crazy because they naming former NBA players, current NBA players, and they're showing you how the game has been rigged for a while because we don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes, right? And mind you, they named somebody, Jonte Murray. Jonte Murray was suspended for life last year. He's the brother of Michael Porter Jr., right? He was suspended. Now, this is the whole thing. He gets caught, right? And he's looking at some time. But while he's locked up, he's saying that, man, they was putting the squeeze on him, right? The NBA players putting the squeeze. You got the mafia squeezing people. They running rigged poker games where it's rigged, where you're rigged to lose. You got all kinds of stuff. Now, how does Terry Rozier get caught up in something like this when he has a big multi-million-dollar contract, right? I'm starting to see something, but I'm gonna wait to the end of the video, right? We're gonna keep on looking because they're not finished.
Now, I would like to turn to the other case, United States versus Aiello, the rigged poker game case. Beginning as early as 2019, the defendants in this case orchestrated a scheme to use wireless cheating technology to run rigged poker games across the United States, including in the Hamptons, Las Vegas, Miami, and Manhattan. The scheme targeted victims known as, quote, fish, who were often lured to participate in these rigged games by the chance to play alongside former professional athletes, who were known as, quote, face cards. The so-called face cards included the defendant Chauncey Billups, who at the time of the scheme was a former NBA player and is currently the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, and also Damon Jones, a former NBA player and coach. What the victims, the fish, didn't know is that everybody else at the poker game, from the dealer to the players, including the face cards, were in on the scam. Once the game was underway, the defendants fleeced the victims out of tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars per game. The defendants used a variety of very sophisticated cheating technologies, some of which were provided by other defendants in exchange for a share of the profits from the scheme. For example, they used off-the-shelf shuffling machines that had been secretly altered in order to read the cards in the deck, predict which player at the table had the best poker hand, and relay that information to an off-site operator. The off-site operator sent the information via cell phone back to a co-conspirator at the table, and that person at the table was known as the quarterback. The quarterback then signaled secretly the information he had received from others to others at the table, and together they used that information in order to win their games and to cheat the victims. Defendants used other cheating technologies such as poker chip tray analyzers, which is a poker chip tray that secretly reads cards using a hidden camera, special contact lenses or eyeglasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards face down on the table. What you see depicted on the screen right now is an example of the X-ray table that reveals the cards. Although they are face down on the table, they can be read because of the X-ray technology. The Mafia, specifically members and associates of the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese organized crime families had pre-existing control over non-rigged, illegal poker games around New York City. As a result, they also became involved in the rigged poker games, helping to organize the games and taking a cut of the proceedings, and working to enforce the collection of debts. The defendants laundered their proceeds, including through cash exchanges, the use of multiple shell companies, and through cryptocurrency transfers. As part of the scheme, some of the defendants and their co-conspirators also committed acts of violence, including the gunpoint robbery of a person in order to obtain a rigged shuffling machine, and extortions that were perpetrated against victims in order to ensure that they repaid their gambling debts. Defendants who participated in the rigged poker scheme are charged with wire fraud conspiracy. Other defendants have been charged with crimes including illegal gambling, money laundering, Hobbs Act robbery, and extortions. This case demonstrates our office's unrelenting commitment to fighting the scourge of organized crime in whatever form it takes.
So this thing that they're uncovering is insane. So you got a rigged shuffling board where they the cards is rigged already. You got an X-ray table where they can see your cards even when they face down, and it's going back to a control room somewhere. You got all kinds of cameras. Like, the whole thing is rigged from the jump. And you got the mafia on board to take part of the cuts and to enforce protection and make sure people pay up their debts. And you got people like, yo, they got this underground gambling joint, man. You got to go there, man. Chauncey Billups there, Damon Jones. Now, we gotta unpack something, right? We know that Chauncey Billups retired in 2014. They say that they started investigating this thing around 2019, right? He became, I think he was like an assistant coach with the Clippers or one of them around 2020. And then he became a coach, right? So I don't know if he maybe been involved in the Terry Rozier thing with the point shaving and and people coming out of games, right? But what we do know is he mixed up in this elaborate poker scheme where he's an NBA coach, right? Where they're with the mafia, with Costa Nostra. And they're taking, they're scamming people. And he's caught up in that. But Damon Jones is caught up. But these guys is linked to the NBA in reference to gambling. So he's fried. He's fried. But like I said, these dudes, that guy, John T. Murray, in my opinion, because he got caught first and got suspended, I believe he blowing the whistle on everybody. He's the one blowing the whistle. And it's already said that they were squeezing him. They were squeezing him. Because the way that the feds are talking, they talking like they got an open and shut case. They got these guys hook, line, and sinker. Everybody's going to jail, right? That's the way that they talk. And I just still can't wrap my head around why Terry Rozier would be caught up in something like this. But they wasn't finished.
What we have dubbed Operation Royal Flush, HSI New York, along with our task force personnel from the Waterfront Commission, first uncovered this scheme more than 4 years ago. Agents and investigators dedicated countless hours and sleepless nights in identifying the criminal network, dissecting communications and patterns, and following the money with precision. We built a case, piece by piece, and what we discovered was a sprawling criminal enterprise that utilized cutting-edge technology and various methods of deception to dupe unsuspecting gamblers into paying up so that these defendants cash out. As alleged, this sophisticated conspiracy cheated victims out of at least $7 million and placed the public and the defendants alike at risk. This case involved global reach, financial depth, and the patience to dismantle complex financial criminal enterprises from the inside out. When criminal organizations attempt to launder profits through our country, HSI connects the dots and shuts it down. To anyone who thinks intimidation, fraud, or violence will shield their profits, understand this. If you are exploiting our communities, expect HSI and all of our law enforcement partners at your door.
Result of more than 2 years of coordinated investigative work by the NYPD's Joint Organized Crime Task Force and the FBI. 2 cases that exposed criminal networks led by 34 individuals who believe the rules did not apply to them. They hid behind layers of complexity, behind money, and behind influence, believing those things would shield them from accountability. The first case, Operation Nothing But Bet, exposed a gambling ring built around professional basketball, where players and associates allegedly used inside information to manipulate prop bets on major sports betting platforms. They placed wagers on unders on players to score less, rebound less, assist less, using information that was not yet public. In some instances, players altered their performance or took themselves out of games to make sure that those bets paid out. One example occurred on March 23rd, 2023 in Charlotte. Terry Rozier, an NBA player now with the Miami Heat, but at the time playing for the Hornets, allegedly let others close to him know that he planned to leave the game early with a supposed injury. Using that information, members of the group placed more than $200,000 in wagers on his under statistics. Rozier exited the game after just 9 minutes, and those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands of dollars in profit. The proceeds were later delivered to his home, where the group counted their cash. As the NBA season tips off, his career is already benched, not for injury, but for integrity. As a result of this investigation, 6 defendants, including Rozier, are now facing conspiracy to commit bank and wire fraud. In a second case, Operation Zen Diagram, investigators uncovered a long-running scheme in which members and associates of several well-known organized crime families rigged high-stakes poker games across the country. These operatives included capos and multiple soldiers from the Bonanno, Gambino, Lucchese, and Genovese crime families. Bringing 4 of the 5 families together in a single indictment is extraordinarily rare.
So let's unpack this and look at how this thing is really hitting the fan. So to me, I'm looking at the situation with Chauncey Porter. He's the brother of Michael Porter Jr., right? The league also determined that Porter, the brother of Denver Nuggets forward Michael Porter Jr., placed at least 13 bets on NBA games using someone else's betting account. The bets range from $15 to $22,000. The total ranged from $54,000 and generated a payout of $76,000 and $21,000. Those wagers did not involve any game in which Porter played, the NBA said, but 3 of the wagers were multi-game parlays, including a bet where Porter, who was not playing in the games involved, wagered on the Raptors to lose. All 3 of those bets lost. While legal sports betting creates transparency that helps identify suspicious or abnormal activity, this matter also raises important issues about the sufficiency of the regulatory framework currently in place, including the types of bets offered on your games and players, Silver said. Working closely with all the relevant stakeholders across the industry, we will continue to work diligently to safeguard our league's game. Porter was on what is called a two-way contract, meaning he could play for both the Raptors and the affiliate G League. His salary for this year was around $400,000. Had the Raptors signed him to a standard NBA contract the next season as possible, his salary would exceed $2 million, right? So he was already in trouble, right? He got in trouble, and for me, I believe that he was the one starting to blow the whistle, right? Because it says the investigation started once the league learned from the licensed sports betting operations and the organizations that monitors legal betting markets about unusual gambling patterns surrounding Porter's performance in the game on March 20th against Sacramento. The league determined that Porter, watch this, the league determined that Porter gave a better information about his own health status prior to that game and said that another individual known to be an NBA bettor placed an $80,000 bet that Porter would not hit his numbers set for him in parlays through an online sports book. The bet would have won $1.1 million. So to me, him and there was another guy, the guy's name is escaping me right now. To me, they're the ones that really blew up this thing, was blowing a whistle, because the feds was already investigating since 19. They found him on the radar, got him, put the squeeze on him, and he started to squeal, started to tell everything. And now he's uncovered this big thing. I believe that they got Damon Jones and Chauncey Billups because it makes the case more salacious. You get these guys, oh, they was in here gambling? Oh, yeah, bring them too and put them in the forefront, because now it's going to make it go viral everywhere, and it's going to become a big thing. But the real culprits behind it is the Costa Nostra and the ones running it. They're being used as cannon fire because they were stupid enough to be involved in something like this. It's crazy. This thing, listen, but I keep telling y'all this stuff is rigged, man. But y'all gotta let me know what y'all think. Well, allegedly rigged, right? But this don't make it, for people to say it's not, man, y'all don't have a strong case when this kind of stuff come out. But y'all gotta let me know what y'all think if y'all made it this far in the video. Hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.